Today, I am joined by Zach Boetto, a news reporter and anchor for ABC 17 News in Columbia, Missouri. Hello, Zach.
Hey, Robin. What's up, guys? Go Dolphins.
Thanks for joining us, Zach. I wanted to ask you a few questions. I really appreciate you taking the time today. So we will go ahead and get started. So can you tell us more about your current role at ABC 17?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And any chance that I get to talk to some young Dolphins. I'm on my position here at KMIZ. You know, I came in as a young, what in the news game we call an MMJ, and MMJ stands for multimedia journalist. And as a multimedia journalist, what I do is we come in, we have a meeting at the table with everybody on the news team, and basically we do story pitches. I shoot an idea out there. Everyone either says, that's a dumb idea. Great idea, Zach. Who do you think you're going to interview? What kind of video do you think you're going to get? And then they say, we're going to have you in the 5 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, the 6:30. You're going live. And at that point, we leave the meeting. What happens is at this point, I know what story I'm doing for the day. So let's say Channel Islands has a new chancellor. They just signed a new chancellor. Zach, you're on the story. Get out there. So what I would do is, boom, I start making some calls and I say, who would I want to speak to? Who would the people want to hear from in our community about this new deal, let's say? So first things first is I'm calling the chancellor, or I'm calling the chancellor's assistant, and I'm saying, Zach Boetto with ABC 17 News, I'd love to do an interview with you. We want to sit down and let the community know who you are and why this is important. I'd go interview them. I'd go interview maybe a student on campus. Once I get those interviews done, get some video of the campus, maybe of who the new chancellor is, of some of the students that are walking around. At that point, I have video, I have sound. I come either in my car, our news vehicles, we either take our news vehicles, or I go back to the studio. At that point, I edit the video and the sound, and I make what we call a package, which is what you see on TV a lot of times. I put the package together, and then I'll go back to the campus and do a live shot from the location of interest and of relevance. And that's when you see the news vans pull up, you see the guy come out, set up the camera. We have this thing called the Live View. You plug the Live View into the camera. That basically connects to the station so that we can broadcast to the viewers or the state or the nation. Basically, there's bigger levels. And I stand there, I do makeup, I get my swag on, the tie, and I figure out what my script is. I get it on my phone. We obviously are using our phones nowadays for scripts instead of like a piece of paper. And I say the anchors are doing their show, boom, 3, 2, 1, the show starts. The anchors give the intro, and then they say, ABC 17 Zach Boetto is live at Channel Islands today to introduce us to the new chancellor, Zach. Our new chancellor, Robin Riley, we heard that she is, really top of the line. And I say, that's right, Bob and Linda. I'm here at CI, and things have been growing great. And you know what? A lot of the students tell me they like Chancellor Riley as well. Then it takes my package. Boom, the package runs, I'm going online and I'm cutting the video from the show and I'll upload it to our website. So then it's the full package. You got the piece that I worked on for the day, you have the live hit, you have the web story, you have social media, and then boom, the final piece is that video. It's like the capstone, bam. And there's the body of work for the day. And I clock out, go home, hit the gym. And that's how I started. At this point, now I'm getting a little bit more experience on the anchor desk, which is where I am now. And awesome. I'm the guy who talks to the reporters in the field. And they say, yeah, Zach, I'm at CI, back to you. And then I'm kind of hosting the entire newscast. At the same time, I'm producing, So I'm making all the graphics, putting all the words on the graphics, the numbers, doing a lot of research, getting all that info, putting it together for a half-hour show. And sometimes I do 2 shows a day, 3 shows, 6 shows, and it's a lot of teamwork, and it's a lot of hustle, and I love it. This is something that I've always wanted to do, so I'm very grateful for where I am, and I'm grateful for really everything that CI was able to provide for me in opportunity.
That's awesome. So you're really down to the nitty gritty, right? You, from start to finish, doing a story, all of those details that come along with it. It's pretty structured and organized, but like you said, there's a whole team too, kind of working there. That's awesome.
Right. Yep.
So it brings me to my next question, thinking about what do you like best or most about your work?
What do I like best or most about my work? Let me see what I wrote down here. I took some notes. I wanted to make sure I had myself together because,
Perfect.
when it comes to the podcast, Dolphin podcast, come on, Dolphins. I know you don't want to see some guy or girl up here slacking away and ad-libbing, doesn't know what they're talking about. So I got the notes here. So what do I like best about my work? What do I like best about my work? Really, what I wrote here is the everyday challenge, communication, and the competitiveness. Because like you said, it's the nitty gritty. I come in every day and I know that I'm about to work really hard. There are no easy days. There are no days off. I know that I'm about to get to work and I'm about to hustle. And sometimes interviews fall through. Sometimes I have to make 20 calls to get one interview. Sometimes I'm working the graveyard shift. And who wants to do an interview at 1 a.m.? Nobody. So you got to figure out how to make, the package or the show more engaging for the people. And I love that because to me, as a consumer and someone that loves content and influence, I'm like, how can I make this all of that for the people who are watching our show? So I love that. The communication, it goes back to the teamwork as well. We have all these different people that I'm working with, and being able to see it come together successfully at the end of the day. A lot of times there's conflict in communication, there's conflict in teamwork, but communication, organizational communication, especially what I learned from CI, teaches you that in order to have a successful team, you got to be able to work through that conflict and know that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And sometimes you got to work through all those rough spots to get to that point. But that's one of the things that I love. And lastly, the competitiveness. Really, some people are better on air than others, and at the end of the day, that's facts. And so it goes to the everyday challenge as well. Is I'm wearing my suit, I got the tie clip, I got the little pin here because I know the next guy is going to try to have a little placard in here, is going to have the next thing. So I'm trying to do what I can to really raise the bar at all times. And I love that there's some competitive nature because I'm competitive at heart for sure as well.
Awesome. So it might kind of lead right into the next question, right?
Cool.
So
let's get it.
what is the most challenging aspects of what you do?
The most challenging aspect of what I do as a news reporter, as a news anchor, in my opinion, is making deadline. Making deadline is the most challenging part of my job because when you have all these different loose ends and you're trying to bring them together, it's almost like everything I do is like the last minute of like Top Chef. And I'm like running around. You ever watch Top Chef? And they're like trying to cook and they're trying to baste and they're trying to cut and they're trying to, and I'm like trying to get these interviews, get them all together, and I'm sweating. And that can be stressful. And that, what I mean? That part of the job isn't for everyone because really by the time it's 4:30 and you're about to go live at 5 o'clock and your package isn't done and sent to your producers, oh man, that's a tough one. But when it's done and it's in and the weight's off your shoulders, and you do the live hit, that's a great feeling as well, because you're relieved and you know that you really stepped up and got the job done. And that's what makes me really feel like a professional on a daily basis, is getting my work done on deadline. Because in college, you might have a couple days to finish stuff, finish your homework. Some teachers are lenient. And the news, man, the news doesn't stop. It's going on at 5 p.m. and if you miss your hit, you're gonna get fired.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
It sounds like a challenge. It's almost that competitive nature, like challenge accepted type of thing, and that adrenaline rush at the last minute getting things done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. And I think my boss respects me a little bit for that too. And there's a lot of respect that goes around the newsroom for sure, which is fun.
That's great to hear. So next question I have for you. Did you have specific career goals in mind when you were at CSUCI? And if not, how did you figure those things out? If so, what were the things that kind of the steps that you took along the way to get you to where you're at now?
Yeah. When I got to CI, I knew what I wanted to do. But before I got to CI, I didn't know. And well, I think I just said I didn't know, but then I didn't know. So I would say maybe like a half year before I got to CI, I didn't know. And I was I'm a young California boy. I like to surf, I like to skate, I like to DJ, I like to go to Coachella. I like to, live and have fun just like everyone else and go out and have a good time. And at a point I was, like DJing in LA and producing music, and that was very creative and I enjoyed that. But there was a moment where I decided that that's not what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And at that point I decided, what can I do for the rest of my life? And I decided that I was going to go for the news reporter field. And at that moment, I just started crossing stuff off the list. Internship, get on air, make a newsreel. All the little things that kind of add up to make you a desirable product to the bosses at the news stations. And that kind of goes for everything, really.
Great advice. So next question would be, was there, just looking back, was there a time where you faced a challenge during the actual job search? And how did you overcome that, if there was a challenge?
Yeah. So during my job search, I will say, I have this on my notes. I wanted to mention, build a solid resume. And that one of the main things that Robin Riley helped me with was building a solid resume, 100%. And it's a matter of, because a lot of times I banked off the fact that I'm, somewhat of a half good looking guy. And I had applied to 20 places, and I had maybe, so let's say 7 news directors get back to me. And I'm like, I'm great. Like, I'm, this kid coming out of college. I know I'm young and I'm probably going for an entry level thing. But it was really important for me to try to find the best spot for me. And that would be, one thing that I would say is choose the right employer for you. Choose the right employer for you. And I said that twice because you got to talk to all your peers, talk to your closest friends, talk to your mom, talk to your dad. You don't have your mom and dad in your life, talk to your best friend.
Next question, what would be the best career advice? And you've touched on it throughout this conversation, but best career advice that you've ever received?
Okay. Friends, but I got to focus on what's important for me. How can I move forward as an individual? How can I find more success? So do what is best for you individually, number 1. Number 2, don't take things personally. When you're coming up, you might think they're trying out to get me. They're talking behind my back. I had a bad day. It's not about them. It's not about them, about you. It's just about you. Don't take it personally. Move on. And that also goes into number 3 is like, have a short memory. If you have a bad day and, you know, you're at work, because work is hard. You know, we come up and we go through college and we decide we want to get into a job. Sometimes you're going to have bad days. You got to have a short memory. Come to work the next day, blessed, positive, ready to have a great day. And I always say, you know, have a better day. Let's be better tomorrow. Let's be better tomorrow. That's kind of like what I've been telling a lot of my producers and production assistants lately. And yeah, short memory. And the last thing that I always tell myself is Lords Never Worry, which is a really funny one because it's the album name from a group called ASAP Mob. They have an album called Lords Never Worry. And I learned in church even one day that relates to that rap album that, you know, we have the ability to plan. And when you're well planned, then you never have to worry about what's ahead because, you know, you've planned ahead and you're prepared. And even if something goes wrong, you're prepared for what is going to happen next. And so those are my I think that's 4 things. Let me see. I have do what's best for you individually.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take things personally. Short memory. And Lords Never Worry. So be prepared. We'll mix those 2. Graduated from Channel Islands with a bachelor's degree. I'm going to restart that. Hold on. Ready? So I graduated from Channel Islands with a bachelor's degree in organizational communication. And really what that did for me is prepare me for getting a job, kind of everything we're talking about now. Mm-hmm. Applying for what's the word I'm looking for? Becoming one with, you know, the people that are around you, with your teammates, with your work people, with your coworkers. You know, when you're really blending in and becoming, you know, a professional in the field at that station, that's what organizational communication prepared me for. It prepared me to know that there's conflict in teamwork and business and life. And, you know, you got to work through that to find success. And some people aren't going to, you know, see eye to eye with you, but that's okay. You know, you have to be able to, you know, talk to other people about it or approach it a different way. And I wish I could drop a bunch of vocab terms on you right now and really tell you what terms changed my life as a professional, but they're ingrained in my mind as lessons more than just the term. And I would say that's how my degree in organizational communication helped me is just being as an organization, moving as a machine, as a system, and playing a part. It's just like a big teamwork degree, I think. And that's what helps me feel comfortable when I'm on the desk as a leader from the bottom up. You know, when I started as an MMJ and I was eating dirt and I had to listen to everybody and I couldn't say anything to anyone. And, you know, that's very humbling. And I love that part because I knew that that's part of the organizational structure. And then moving up and talking to the boss and getting more opportunities, even talking to a boss is something that I learned as an organizational communication major. And then now, you know, being in more of a leadership position as an anchor and working with some people who are helping me in other facets of the newscast and being, you know, helpful to them and polite and respectful. And, you know, I always try to treat everyone with the same respect and love, I guess you could say. You know, the general manager, I always, you know, greet whoever is walking in the room and smile and try to be polite. That's little pieces from all these different people and build your vision from that.
That's great advice. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So this next part is like the CI lightning round. So I'm going to shoot out some questions to you specifically that have to do with Channel Islands. So
okay.
First question, who were your favorite professors? Okay,
I wrote these down because I didn't want to leave anyone out. Professor Harper, like I said, a bit of inspiration, sometimes it's a lot. Dr. Edler, amazing. She was awesome, loved her. Dr. Parul Malik, journalist, worked for like CNN India or something amazing, and she was awesome and she inspired me a whole lot. Professor Henchy was also awesome. and I wrote the bottom here, and Robin Riley, of course. And ultimately, it's like you got to find, what you like from each professor. You're probably not gonna be like, this is my professor. This is the one that I really like to hang out with every day at lunch. It's not like that anymore. It's like you gotta, move around and coordinate with all the different professors and find what you like in each professor. And like I said, build that vision for you and move in on it.
Excellent. Next question. What's your favorite spot on campus?
Oh no. Okay, no, I did write some down. I thought I forgot. I really enjoyed like hiking up to that well every once in a while. And even there's like the little mountain past the well. And I just remember when the fires were going crazy, walking up there with a bunch of kids who lived in the dorms and like watching the fires on the hill. So I love those little, hikes. Those are fun. The gym, I love balling out at the gym with all my dogs. So fun. And town center. I lived at town center my senior year, and I loved town center. I love the gym, and I loved doing a little hike to the well. Those were fun for me. And then I also, went surfing all the time. So I really, really loved hanging out in Malibu. Obviously, that's not the campus, but if we're talking about favorite spots, County Line, that's my surf. You know what I mean? Some fish tacos. Ooh, there's nothing like it. I miss that so much for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful there. So that's a win-win. All right,
Yeah.
one more question. What do
Okay.
you miss most about being a student at Channel Islands?
This one, when I was thinking about this question, I started like tearing up a little bit because it was like, it made me really reminisce. And I would say like what I miss the most really is, the community and all the friendships that I made. I had fun in the moment. I had so much fun in the moment, doing island news, building connections there. And like I said, playing basketball in the gym and working out. And, even with the professors and all that, you become like kind of in a weird way, like a distant family, especially when you're living on campus. I lived on campus both years that I went to CI. And I really, really loved, all the friends that I made at CI and the peers that I met. That to me is what I miss the most. Really, I would just sleep and wake up like in town center and be at CI for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand that. You'll need to set up some type of a reunion or something.
Oh, I'm coming back for sure. As soon as I'm
Okay.
back in California, I'm coming and doing some panels. And everybody. Well, that's the thing about being in Missouri is that I'm so far from everyone. But you know what? The overwhelming support that I get on Instagram, DMs telling me, hey man, you're doing a good job. Keep working hard and doing your thing. I respect what you're doing. You inspire me. Hearing all that, really to me, keeps me level